Hello, 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 everyone who's here for a book party. We're about an hour earlier than we usually are, so thank you for joining us. And yeah, we're waiting for our guests to join us today. How's everyone doing today? We've got our guests now. I'm Connie, by the way. I'm a social media manager here at Scholastic, and I'm very excited to have our guests come in. Oh, here we go. Sending our request. Hi, Mayliha. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes. Up there we go.
Hello.
Katie and Chris have also joined us. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
Amazing, amazing. You three have awesome new books that are out as of yesterday. They're brand new releases. How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah,
It's always
A little
surreal.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
yeah.
I bet. So I'm just gonna have you guys tell me about your book. Like, what is it? What is it about? How about we start with you, Maliha?
Sure. So I am the author of Barca Beats. You can see the poster right behind me. Oops, it's inverted. Sorry. It is there it is. It's a middle grade, and it's about a 12-year-old Muslim girl named Nimra Sharif, and she has spent her entire life in Islamic school. And at the beginning of the book, she transfers to public school for the first time. And Nimra's figured she can do it as long as she's got her best friend Jenna with her, because Jenna's gone to public school her whole life. But when she gets to public school, Jenna starts giving hijab, bringing Nimra the cold shoulder around the other kids. So desperate to fit in and get back in her best. And she experiences this whole upside down world, and there's shenanigans, there's faith, friendships, family, and it's all about this one Muslim girl just trying to figure out who she is.
That's amazing. I love that. She's basically one is going to be a rock star. Okay.
she's living like that Hannah Montana double life.
Yeah.
Exactly. How about you, Kelly? Tell us.
Yeah, so this is a graphic novel, and I wrote it and I drew the illustrations. It's about two best friends, Manu and Josefina, and they go to this magic school for girls that takes place kind of in this fantastical world that I based around the Dominican Republic. And Manu, she's like the class clown. She's really, really good at doing magic. And she kind of makes trouble for all her school friends and all the teachers. And one of her pranks goes very, very wrong, and she accidentally gets herself cursed, and her magic begins disappearing. So naturally, she starts freaking out, and she manages to find a way to get it back. But it's at a very dangerous cost, and it might tear her apart from her best friend Josefina for good. So you can find out what happens to them in the book.
Yeah. I think we have a theme of like girl friendships. Because Katie, your book is also about like girls who are friends and more about
Yeah.
viral.
Yes. Here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so my book is about a teenage girl named Claire. She's going through a pandemic in the city, which I feel like maybe someone can relate to.
Yeah.
She's struggling like everyone. She misses her girlfriend. She's worried. She can't really go outside her house. She can't see her girlfriend. So one day she's just kind of daydreaming, and she's looking out her window, and she sees a girl across the street on a fire escape that she's never seen before. And she's like, "Ooh, who's that?" And it's just kind of bored. She's like, "I'll just write a story about it online. I'll just write a story, see what happens." And then, to her surprise, the story starts to go viral, and people want to know what's going to happen. But meanwhile, she's actually becoming friends in real life with the real fire escape girl. So it's kind of the line kind of gets crossed between what's real, what's fiction, and what she's really feeling, which is what she's writing about. And yeah.
And all the struggles of like living during a pandemic with
Mm-hmm.
crazy emotions that has.
Yeah.
Emotions. So yeah, I love that all three of these books have really great female relationships. So that's really great. You tweeted earlier this week, I think, that you were able to see your book at the Scholastic Book Fair. Like people have been sending you pictures, right?
Pictures, yes. I've seen pictures only. I have yet to see it in person, but I hope to actually see it in person this month because I'm going back to the middle school that I attended. I'm going to be there for the Scholastic Book Fair, so hopefully I'll actually get to see it in person. But I mean, like the pictures themselves have been amazing to see, so I can't imagine what's going to happen to me in person.
I think it's like a lot of kids who want to be a writer, and they're at the Scholastic Book Fair. When you grow up, you're like, that's one of the dreams, So I'm really glad that you were able to like start experiencing this part of the dream. It's really cool, right?
Life comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, Kelly. Your book it's based on like the Dominican Republic. Is it kind of based on like Catholic school culture? I saw a little bit of that, and it integrates like English and Spanish. So can you talk to us a little bit about like that decision, and like there's not really any like translations or italics, and I know that that's a huge thing for sort of normalizing like people speak Spanish. So you can tell me more about including that in your book?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's kind of, this book was my way of exploring how I grew up because I did go to Catholic school and I grew up around grandparents who are very spiritual, and it's kind of like they have this way of melding together our Roman Catholic background, but also these like supernatural elements, very spiritual elements, and everything kind of ties up together very nicely. It's like a part of our culture, at least in our family it was. So it was really, really important to me to have that kind of showing that in my characters and showing that in the world, and the way that the magic, like the rules for how the magic works, and all that kind of that fantastical stuff that goes around in the world building for this book. And for speaking Spanish, switching between English and Spanish in the dialogue. I grew up in a bilingual house. My parents speak way better Spanish than I do, so they were always flipping between English and Spanish like that. So in the book, that's kind of how the characters talk too.
Yeah, that's the reality of many people who are not, primarily not only English speakers. Like you speak your language at home, and then sometimes that's different. Sometimes the kids speak only English, and the parents are speaking back in their native language. And so it's really great because that's still an experience that kids experience. So it's great that it's included here and it's like normalized. Great. Katie, you wrote a book about a pandemic in a pandemic. How so? Like emotionally, like physically, what was it really hard to write a book in the pandemic, or did the writing process make the experience any easier?
I mean, I feel like it was kind of like the ultimate experience of write what you know. I mean, it was hard because it's like usually when you're you're trying to kind of escape your life, and this time I was writing, I'm like, oh, this is actually happening. I'm watching the news. I'm watching what's happening. So it was hard, and yeah, just to be like, oh, this is real. This is like real life. This is really happening. It was tough.
Yeah. On like a kid's experience of that, like I guess the different emotions that like us as adults were experiencing the pandemic one way, but kids are experiencing it in a whole different way. Like how did you tap into that, like that difference?
I guess I was just thinking what I would do if I were a teenager and I couldn't see anyone except for my parents. I was also thinking about my daughter too, because my daughter is younger, but I was also like, she is stuck with me and her father. Like we are so boring. like she's gonna play with us all the time, and she's like, you know, I felt bad for her, so I was just trying to kind of think of that, but you know, a little bit older, just like being stuck with your parents, and that's it.
Yeah. Maliha, your book incorporates in a similar way to Kelly's, like faith and, you know, being a kid of a particular culture and religion, and she's going from a very specific Islamic school to public school. What was it like to sort of incorporate your religion in that way, and just tell us a little bit about how that informs her character and the story?
Sure. So it was actually incorporating Islam into the story was actually that part was like really easy for me. It just felt like Baraka Beast was like the most natural manuscript I ever wrote,
Nice.
because like that's just, you know, there's a lot of meat in the book.
Like
Now
all right.
sorry?
Like Katie said, write what you know.
Write what you know, right. But disclaimer, I never joined a boy band in middle school. So yeah, that wasn't, but yeah, it was really important for me to write a story where my young main character was really in tune with her faith, because I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, the ones who are like Nimra in the sense that they're practicing and they're very connected to their religious community, I feel like a lot of them get overlooked. Or like it's just not believable that there are kids like that out there, and that's very untrue, because there are so many kids like that in my own community.
Yeah, the stories are really about kids who are sort of struggling with it or trying to like step away from it, and so like
right.
Who is like, no, this is who I am, this is what I am, like this,
right.
This is who
and
I
am. And Nimra struggles. It's not like she doesn't struggle. Yeah. She struggles in the story, and that's a very, very common, like it's a very real thing that everyone deals with. But I also wanted to make sure that it was a joyful and positive sort of representation where it's like, yeah, you're struggling, but at the same time you're not willing to give up who you are, because it's just that important to you.
Yeah. And then you were mentioning, I think in the arc that I have, you like wrote like an introductory letter about like music and Islam. Can you talk about like the tension there, I guess?
The tension there. Yeah. So I typically I can't give like an actual answer, because I'm not like a scholar. I'm not qualified to give those kinds of answers. But I can tell you from a regular person's perspective, regular practicing Muslim's perspective, that yeah, there is in our community, which the Muslim community as a whole, we call it the Ummah, like as a whole, global, and there's disagreements of whether music is allowed or not, whether it's allowed to be listened to, whether it's allowed to be created. And like I said in the letter, that there's one side that is like, music's not allowed at all, and then there's one side that disagrees with that completely, and then there are people in the middle who are just kind of like, we don't know what to do. So Nimra's family is like in the middle. Like there are certain things that they hold back from, and there are certain things that they're like, all right, like sure, why not?
Yeah. Safafiz in the comments asked, what was your favorite part of the book, of writing the book?
My favorite part of writing the book was definitely all the scenes with Nimra and the band. Those were my favorite scenes to write, especially their first meeting. Their first meeting was so much fun. I had a lot of fun like coming up with it and writing it. And then like my second favorite scene was probably the end, like the big climactic scene at the end. That was my favorite.
Nice. I saw on your Twitter that you don't watch Julie and the Phantoms, but you've been getting lots of comparisons to it, right?
I do. A lot of people are like, oh, this reminds me of Julie and the Phantoms. I'm like, I've never watched that. So I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, I see it.
I see where they're going.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's funny. I saw your tweet on that and I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
That's a good comp. Had I known.
And it's funny because Scholastic does publish a Julie and the Phantoms like adapted novel. So.
Oh no way! I didn't know that. See, I'm so out of it.
Let's see. Kelly, let's talk about the tension, like not tension, but like magic and Catholicism kind of they're not friends. They
yeah.
together. So can you tell us about like marrying those two things together in terms of, you know, like creating this like magic system and figuring out like Manu's like power and her, you know, dealing with like the sisters, like there are nuns like at her school, like it's all very tied into like Catholic culture and like an easy you know like visual dialogue there. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about magic in the story.
Yeah. So like I kind of started talking about earlier, like it just that awkward marriage in like it seems, I don't know, it's always like I kind of feel like sometimes I'm an outsider looking in because I was born in America and I grew up in American culture, and so I have my relatives who are Dominican and they were born in the Dominican Republic. So I like for it's always fascinated me because there are times when we'll be like we'll go we'll I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like we'll say Catholic prayers and have these do these very Catholic rituals, but at the same time we'll have these other beliefs and rituals like um
Yeah, not a bit.
like when there's like a newborn baby, my grandmother would we'd make sure that the baby has like the red bracelet with the evil eye on it to protect it from
Yeah,
like like bad intentions,
yeah,
like little things like that. And like my dad and my grandfather, they believe very much in ghosts. And so like growing up around that, always thought like, oh yeah, this is normal, this is normal. And then when I grew up and like I started reflecting on everything, I was like, something, it is, I can see both sides, you know, so that's where that comes from.
mhm,
And I still struggle to explain it because it feels like second nature to me. But I understand why people kind of do a double take
yeah,
when it comes to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything in particular about like building a magic system in your story? Like anything fun about like being able to play and like make new things come together?
Yeah. I was trying to I had a lot of fun doing that because there are like little rhymes like sana sana colita de rana, and it's like something you say when someone hurts themselves. You sing it and then you like rub the area where they got hurt.
Mm,
So I was trying to like come up with like magic spells that kind of fit um that mold, and some other like think just trying to come up with fun like new ways that would remind people of those aspects
yeah.
of our culture. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone in the comments says many minorities can relate to being Roman Catholic, but kept their own culture and religious beliefs as well. So Manu truly speaks to the honestly in our homes, and I love that.
Thank you.
Great. Um, Katie, your book
Yes.
is like incorporates a lot of social media. Was that like hard to do? Like us as adults, like we don't know what the kids are doing and talking about. Like, how did you tap into like younger social media culture?
Oh my gosh, I felt so old like doing some of this stuff. So old. Um, I try to kind of keep it vague too. Like at first we're like, is it going to be like an app? Like what is it actually? And I was like, I think just kind of keeping it as something vague, social media, something where you post things is like, don't overthink it. Just keep it
Don't ever-
something online. Yeah, don't overthink. Just make it simple. And it's just a thing they do. At first I had a blog and I was like, people still have blogs. Like, is that still a
Right.
thing?
Kids do blogs. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's just keep it vague. Let's just try.
And it's
Everything's video now.
writing a story
Yeah.
like updated, right?
What's that?
She's writing a story that she updates like periodically, right?
Yeah, yeah, and there's comments too. And I also at first I had like usernames for all the comments. I was like, I can't think of any more usernames. Like I can't. It's just, again, I can't think of anything.
Really
So I just,
cool, yeah.
yeah, like
It's like,
hundreds of comments. I can't.
do I use social media? Do I like change the names? You know, imagine if you'd come up with Meta before Facebook was Meta. Like that would be hilarious. And then like, you know, writing about kids and social media, it's like, you know, it's been really good. And obviously we're here on a social platform talking to lots of people. Hey people. But you know, social media can come with a lot of bad, especially for kids. Like how did you sort of incorporate either, you know, the safety measures or warnings or not, or choose not to, and to focus on you know, just like the virality and sort of blurring the lines of her personal and internet life? Like, did you have to like decide like which way to focus the story?
Yeah, I mean, when I first came up with it, we gave her like, at first I was like, okay, she needs to have a separate username from her actual name. So she has a different name. It's like Clarissa Reads, and her real name is Claire. So that way it's like protecting her for privacy, because she starts the blog when she's really little. Like,
Yeah.
like I think if she starts when she's a teenager, so it's like, okay, she's gotta be safe. And like the mean comments that people make, I try to keep it like only sort of mean, not like as cruel as people can be. You know, some people can be really mean online. So I was like, I'll do like medium mean, not like
fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting to be able to do that. But it's cool to see like her story and then the comments, and then her like text exchanges with her friends and her girlfriend and her parents. You know, the family group chat, you know. You're all nodding like, yeah. Have any of you gone viral in any way that's like you were like, oh no, or like, this is too much?
I think I tweeted once 2 years ago about a caramel brulee latte, and I got like thousands and thousands of likes. I was like, what? This is what I go viral for?
It is usually the most random thing. I do love a caramel brulee latte though.
Same, and they're coming back tomorrow.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
I'm so excited.
Anyone else?
No, not yet. Like,
not yet. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Hopefully,
it's always when you least expect it.
Hopefully, they're all good viral experiences for you. I'm putting that up.
Thank you.
Since it's our book birthday party, our tradition is to ask, like, now that your book is out in the world, what do you wish upon it? Like you wish on a birthday candle. What do you wish for the book to do now that it's out in the world? You know, however you want to interpret that. Maliha, how about you?
I want all the kids who never got to see themselves in a story before finally be able to see themselves in a story. That is my biggest wish. And I have had two readers already who have sent me very kind, loving messages about how they saw themselves in the story for the first time and how they felt so seen and validated, and I cried that day. So
yeah.
I know. I would say that's great.
Like the readers who just felt it in their soul, like those readers.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Contacting you to be like,
yeah,
you to know now that this was life changing. That's gotta be feeling as an author, right?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I loved it. I'll always remember that.
Kelly?
Like kind of piggybacking off of that. I wish the same. Like I guess primarily I want people to be entertained, to enjoy, but I also hope that they relate to one or more of the characters or their struggles, or they just see themselves reflected in what happens, and they find some comfort in that.
Amazing. And you, Katie?
Also, I want my book to be a source of comfort for people who went through the pandemic, and a reminder of how hard it was, how hard it still is, and that, you know, we're not alone. We're all doing this. It's really hard, but we're doing it together.
We're all doing it together. It's amazing. Thank you guys for joining me on Book Party. I hope your books achieve whatever you wish, and they're Great. We've got Manu, our graphic novel. It's on graphics, Baraka Beats, and going viral. I loved the like parallel, like, you know, it's like pink and then green and then pink. Just like, you know, aesthetically, I really enjoyed like putting them on our little banner. So y'all have got great covers as well. But thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone who watched, and happy book birthday. Yay.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Mom's name is Manu, Roman Catholic in practice, Hinduism at home. It relates so much to her. Thank you. Oh, that's really nice. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a
You
good
too.
night.